Hey guys, how's it going? James here from Audio.etc. So I've been saying recently that I will do a Q&A sometime soon, so this is it. I've just finished editing up the video for the, what was the one I just did? Just finished editing the video for the crossovers install. That has just told me that it's finished exporting now. So before I start, I will quickly start the upload for that. There we go, the crossovers video is now uploading. So basically what I want to do is just go through some of the comments in my most recent videos, because I've been really busy lately with the car and work and things like that, and I haven't had a chance to sort of go onto YouTube and go through and answer all the questions and comments and stuff on my most recent videos. So I kind of want to do this video now to address some of those, and also to maybe ask you guys, how would you feel about me doing like maybe a weekly or maybe bi-weekly Q&A thing, we can call it, like Ask Me Anything Thursday or something like that. So say every Thursday or something, I basically go through and answer any question you have for me, whether it be about car audio, about old DJ stuff, about me and Jess, about my car, anything. So before I get into it, yeah, give me an answer on that. I'll put a wee poll up in the corner up here, so click on that if you guys are keen to see me do that. Alright, so I'm just going to jump into some questions here. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in time from like the most recent ones to back to the oldest ones. So if you asked a question a while ago, sorry I may not get to it, but we'll see how we go. John Medeiros, sorry man, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, John Medeiros. Look real clean, like the idea of LEDs. Quick question, will there be enough ventilation with the plexi over the top? So that was in regards to the amplifier, where it is mounted in the right hand side of my boot, where I have a panel over top of it with some plexiglass. John, yes, I reckon there will be, because if you look in that video, you'll notice I actually cut a whole chunk of foam out of that, and there is lots of air at the ends of amplifiers, which is where the fans are to suck the air in and out. The sides don't matter too much, because the sides don't matter that much because the main intake and output for air is at the ends. So I do believe there will be enough ventilation for air, because these things really don't get that hot anyway. I've actually installed quite a few of the 4 channels. I've had them cranked up for like, 10 minutes. Put my hand on them and they're like mildly warm. So they actually don't produce a lot of heat, and given this amp is going to have those channels of air at each end, I think it will have enough. Are you okay? Jorgub Hansen on the same video of the amplifier. Are you planning to run a DSP in your system? I'm looking forward to see how this car turns out. Keep up the good work in the videos. Cheers for the comment, Jorgub. No, I'm not planning on running a DSP. Let me explain the whole DSP thing, because this is something that a lot of people pressure me to do. They say, get a DSP and go active, don't use passive crossovers. And I'll try and explain it as clearly as I can. I could go for a DSP, digital sound processor, for those of you who aren't sure what that stands for. An example would be the Rockwood Fosgate 360.3. I could go for that and then have no passive crossovers. The short story of it is that it's a lot more expensive to do it that way than it is just to use the passive crossovers that come with the speakers, which are still really high quality and the speakers sound great. I honestly don't think you lose that much power to them. I'm not an electrical engineer, so I can't get into the fine detail about how much current and voltage is lost to each resistor, but it's a lot more expensive to do it that way, and the argument people always have for me is that it gives you so much more sound features having the DSP, like time alignment and lots of EQs and all that sort of stuff, and high voltage outputs to my amplifiers. But the stereo in my car, my Pioneer AVH X8850BT, it already has all of that built in. I don't need a external DSP to have time alignment, or to have, I think the EQ in my car has like 11 or 12 bands in it. You can adjust the frequency, the Q width, the height of each one of them individually. It's got a lot of sound settings in it. It's got high voltage pre-outs. It's got time alignment, which is the biggest thing. It's got, it's got complete crossover control for all 3 sets of RCA outputs. So basically the other short story of it is that my stereo already does 75% of everything that an external DSP can do. So because of that, it makes it much harder to justify all that extra money for the DSP and for extra amplifiers to run more channels, to install. So it makes it harder to justify when my stereo can already do 75% of what a DSP does anyway. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. That's a question I do get asked a lot about. I found this interesting. Caleb O'Neill, car horns in the UK sound so different from in the US. Thorn Gravy then responded, I think he's in New Zealand, but word yo. Yeah, so no, I'm not in the UK. I am in New Zealand. I get asked a lot whereabouts I'm located. I don't know why it's not showing up on my YouTube channel that I'm in New Zealand. I think it does. It should say in the About section of my YouTube channel that I'm in New Zealand, guys. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, can you come and open a shop up in Aussie? No, I'm not about to just leave. Sorry. So yeah, I'm in Christchurch, New Zealand, which is the main city in the South Island of New Zealand, the bottom of the world where nobody knows about us, nobody likes or dislikes us. Gary Paul. Cool idea, you could get the plexiglass cover for the amp etched with your channel name and mount the red LEDs against the side of the plexi so that it will light up the etch. Yeah, Gary, I think what you're saying there would work. You're absolutely right. I see Steve Mead and other fabricators and stuff do things like that all the time. It's a pretty cool idea. I honestly don't know who I would go to get it done, because it's not like you sort of everyday thing, so I don't know where I would go to get that done. I really like the idea of my YouTube channel name being somewhere in the car though now, so you've put me onto that. The red LEDs I think I probably will go for. Someone else then said, when mounting the amplifier and crossovers, what about some plexiglass that lights up? Same sort of idea. Whether or not I'm going to be able to get the plexiglass to light up, guys, I'm not sure, because the plexiglass, the edge of it is going to be, the plexiglass is going to be dead flush with the surface of that panel, which means the edges of the plexiglass are going to be right against the edge of the panel and not down lower where any light can get to the edge. So whether or not I can get the plexiglass to light up when I install the LEDs or not, I'm not sure, but there will definitely be some LEDs down in there at least shining some light up past the crossovers and amp. Okay, POP032292 on my RCA install video. I have the same flex component speakers, but the tweeters sound really bright, and they also have this fuzzy noise when music is playing with and without the passive crossovers. Do you have this problem? No, I don't have that problem, as I have not yet installed my speakers. The tweeters sound really bright. Well, what you can do for one is, if you have the same speakers, you can go into the crossovers and actually turn down the decibel rating on the tweeter. I think you can go down to like -3 decibels or something for the tweeter. You might also be noticing that if you have your tweeters facing directly up at your windscreen, like they're going to be in my car, because if there's one thing I've learned, it's having tweeters facing up at your windscreen. They kind of bounce off and spread and amplify a wee bit, because the tweeters are coming from like a corner in the car, and then the car only gets wider from there. So it essentially works like a megaphone. The sound comes out and spreads out. So if your tweeters are up on the top of the dash facing the windscreen, then that will explain why they sound really bright and loud. With the fuzzy noise, I honestly couldn't tell you what that is. Things like that really do need to be diagnosed by a professional, as in having someone physically look at the car, check all the wiring, and basically everything has to go through and be checked and possibly replaced and tried with a different solution. I'm sorry I can't give you an answer just by reading the comment, but with a lot of things car audio, you really need to get your hands on and see it. Hiroto Yamada on my RCA install video. Those are old school RCAs. I ran a 6-channel set back in the day connected to my Phoenix Gold Reactor amp about 10 years ago. Yeah, I think you're right. I think those RCAs I've got actually are really old school, because we've had those RCAs, or those series of RCAs at my work where I've been for nearly 5 years now. So yeah, they are quite old school RCAs, but they still retain a very high retail price and are very good quality. So I'm hoping they're going to do a good job of shutting out noise. The packaging states a lot about shutting out noise, so hopefully they're going to do a good job. Francis Senku on my Mazda CX 2016 Mazda CX-3 video. Hi man, love your job. Please help me by choosing between below speakers. A top 3 would do nice. Also, do you think that I might benefit from better sounding by adding a 4x100 RMS amplifier to the speakers? Car is a 2015 Civic hatchback. I'd really like to keep the stock player for now. Okay, just so you know, Francis, pretty much any factory stereo in any car is going to have a pretty poor output. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me on this because they think their cars sound great, but they really don't. They have terrible outputs compared to aftermarket equipment, and it's not so. And the reason for that is because you got to remember, because you've got a Honda Civic. So Honda, how many Civics do you think they made? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million? I honestly couldn't tell, but definitely in the millions. If they saved $1 by putting a cheaper radio in your car, they've instantly saved $1 million. So they're definitely going to put the cheapest things in the car that they can that don't affect its ability to drive. For instance, speakers. These days, most car manufacturers just use speakers made of paper. They use paper cone speakers. Their head units have really poor quality DACs in them, which is the part that converts your digital audio to actual sound. And they do have those these days because they all have USB auxiliary and Bluetooth and whatnot. So those are always really low quality. And newer cars actually coming out with systems in them that have a high pass filter over the whole system. So the system actually plays nothing below, say, 80 hertz or 60 hertz, you know. So that means if you ever want to hook up a subwoofer on, say, a high level input into an amplifier, you'll get no sound out of your sub because the system the stock head unit doesn't produce any frequencies below 60 hertz. And I've even seen systems where, you know, the louder you turn it up, as you're turning up, it actively increases the treble and raises the high pass level to make it sound screechier in your ears and like it is actually louder when it's not, and it's just distorting and hurting your ears, so you turn it back down. Car manufacturers are getting really clever and finicky about their stock systems, and the problem for us being that they're actually getting harder to replace as well. So as much as I don't recommend keeping your stock player, I will try and give you a recommendation for your speakers. You looked at the Focal PS165, the Focal PC165, Rockford Fosgate P162S, Alpine SPG17CS, Pioneer TS A17 2CI MTX. Okay, I can't tell you anything about the MTX or the JBL or the Infinities. Unfortunately, I don't know. I haven't worked with those brands enough to be able to give them a reference. But out of the Focals, the Rockford, the Alpine and the Pioneer, definitely not the Pioneer TSAs. They're a great speaker, but nothing compared to Focal or Rockford. Alpine Type G, same. That's like the bottom of the barrel shit. Rockford Fosgate P1s. I had a set of those in my Lignum. They're really nice, but your number one option if you're after the best speakers is definitely the Focal PS165. I presume that's the FX or the F, either way. The PC versions are just the coaxial version. So it really depends on what your car door actually already has. If it's only got a grill for a woofer, you would go for the PC, which is the coaxial. If it has a grill for the tweeter as well, then you go the PS, which has the separate tweeter. Unless, of course, you really want components, but you don't have a factory grill tweeter, in which case you have to drill a hole in your door card to mount the tweeter in. I can't really give you much more helpful information than that, but I would definitely go either of the Focal ones. They're just so much better. TEK2236 on my Rockford Fosgate unboxing video said, what would you recommend for a motorcycle system? TEK, that's a very vague sort of question. What motorbike? What's your budget? What brands do you like? How many speakers are we talking? Is there a subwoofer, like head unit? That's a very vague question, but I will try and point you in the right direction. Rockford Fosgate have been actually making lots of kits and things recently, specifically for motorbikes. I think they are mainly focusing on Harley Davidson, so if you've got some sort of like sport bike or something, I'm not sure if you'll be able to do anything. But if you've got a cruiser or a chopper or something like that, I think you'll definitely be able to fit a Rockford Fosgate system in there. They actually make full-on kits, including speakers, amps, wiring kits, and mounting plates for specific motorbikes. So I won't go into too much detail because it'll take a while, but I invite you to go over to the Rockford Fosgate website and check out their motorcycle sound systems, because they've got a lot of really good stuff over there, and they've got head units as well that actually fit on motorbikes. Julio Bello commented, what amp would you recommend me to push 2 T4 sound streams? Also, I want to keep my factory system, which way is better to get the best signal in the stock head unit? I presume you mean from the stock head unit. Okay, definitely the best way to get a signal from the stock head unit into an amplifier, because they don't have RCA outputs, is to use a high level input straight into the amplifier. I honestly don't believe in high to low level converters. No one makes any good quality ones. They're bulky, they don't do a decent job. And why do that when most amplifiers these days actually take high level input anyway. High level input is actually sometimes better in certain cars because high level, because of its voltage, is actually less susceptible to noise from external power supplies, unlike RCAs, which are low level and more susceptible to noise. So definitely get an amplifier that has a high level input, which pretty much any Rockford-Fosgate amplifier does. So Rockford-Fosgate make great amps, that's why I'm using them. 2 T4 sound streams. Obviously, I'm presuming you're talking about subwoofers here, because you didn't say. I don't know what a T4 sound stream is. I know Soundstream isn't a very good brand of car audio gear to begin with, because I've seen a lot of Soundstream subs come back to us from just being overdriven and they don't like it. You can throw Rockford-Fosgate back and forth all day long and they'll keep going. Soundstreams, they cook up in a minute. I don't know how powerful 2 T4s are. I don't know what the impedance of 2 T4s are. So sorry, Julio Bello, but you're going to have to give me a bit more information than just powering 2 Soundstream T4s. If I could offer you any advice, though, it would be getting a Rockford-Fosgate amplifier and using high level input. The Trigger NZ asked, how many sheets of sound deadening do you think you will use? 4 for front doors, 4 for back doors, 5 for boot. Are you going to do the roof? Definitely not going to do the roof. I don't think that's necessary. I don't know how many sheets I'm going to use, but I'm probably going to buy one of those Dynamat mega packs, which is the biggest possible pack you can buy. I'm hoping that's going to be enough for the whole car. But I can tell you where I'm going to be sound deadening. I'm going to do the inner skins and the outer skins of all 4 doors, and I'm going to be doing the rear wheel arches in the boot. I'm going to probably also be doing the floor and sort of kick panel and firewall area up in the front of the car. Because my main goal is to try and keep out any road noise. Obviously the sound deadening works really great for increasing bass response from speakers as well, but I want to keep out as much road noise as possible. So doing the floor up the front where the front wheels are, and also doing over the rear wheel arches in the boot will help with that tremendously. Andrew P asked, hey bro, question, if I had factory wires for tweeter and for speaker, should I still wire up the way speakers manual suggested? I think I know what you're saying, Andrew. Basically what you want to know whether or not you should just connect your tweeter to the tweeter wires, or whether you should connect them up the way it suggests in the manual in a situation where you only have one set of wires for your door speakers. You should definitely do the latter. Typically in factory systems, if they do have a tweeter, that tweeter will have a capacitor on it and it will be full range going into the tweeter. The capacitor will be protecting it. And then down where the woofer is, there will also be full range going into the woofer. But those wires are usually a wee bit thicker than the tweeter wires are. So my advice to you is definitely to wire it up the way the manual suggests. If you've got an external crossover box like I do, make sure it goes the woofer wire, the factory woofer wires go into the input side of the crossover box and then out to the woofer and to the tweeter. If you've got, like, say, Alpine Type Rs or Type S where the woofer's crossover is built onto it and then the tweeter has an inline crossover, yeah, do it that way as well. Use the factory woofer wires to the woofer and then out to the inline crossover. Now that isn't for every single car, but that is for the majority of cars. If you have an amplified car, make sure that one way you can tell is look at your factory tweeter, and if it has a little capacitor on it, then you're safe. That means that's all full range. If it doesn't, that means your amplifier in your car likely is active and has separate outputs for your woofer and your tweeter. What that means is that it's going to have a certain band of frequencies that it's only going to play out of each set of wires. So what that means is, like, the woofer wires will only play mid bass and mid, and then the tweeter wires will only play really high treble, which means you won't be able to then use either of those sets of wires as a full range input. So the way you kind of get around that is you have to bypass your amplifier entirely, go straight from your new head unit to your aftermarket speakers. If you're keeping the stock head unit, stock amplifier and putting new speakers in, you can, if you're doing a component set, you can definitely wire the woofer wires straight to your new woofer. You can do the tweeter wires as well if you want, but I would highly recommend trying to use the passive crossover that comes with the set in some way to protect the tweeter or do the frequencies that it's recommended for. It differs for every car, which is why it's a very bricks and mortar business. I need my hands on it to really assess and give an accurate answer, but hopefully that helps you. Jason Jackson recently commented on my Mini 1000 video I did a while ago with just the amplifier and speakers installed under the back seat. Man, how old are you? Lol, you look so flippin' young. I am 23. I know I don't look it, but I am 23. I was born on the 28th of September 1993. My girlfriend Jess, she is also 23. She was born on the 11th of November 1993. I know I don't look that old, but I am. Deal with it. I don't mean to come across hostile about that. It's just I get asked about my age so freaking often, everywhere I go. And, you know, you kind of get stick for it as well. Like when you're working in a trade and some middle-aged 40 to 50-year-old old New Zealand codger comes up to you and, you know, says, I'd like to speak to a technician, please. And I go, yep, I'm a technician. I go, oh, is there an older guy in? You know, it's like, bro, come on. I'm here. I'm paid to be here. This is my job. Get real. Kenneth, sorry I can't pronounce your last name, man. Kenneth Becklund on my Project Legacy updates video recently asked, what do I film with? I film with what I'm filming on at the moment, GoPro Hero 4 Silver. I would like to get a new camera sometime soon. That's actually why I set up my Patreon account, because I want to buy a new camera to film with. Probably like a DSLR or something. Something that A, has better quality audio with a proper microphone on the top of it, can autofocus, because this thing has no autofocus. It's like one field of depth thing, and like I want something that can do close-up macro shots. I want something that can do close-up macro shots, can not necessarily zoom in from far away, but like when I hold it out like the GoPro is now, I want to be able to have a wide angle so that it can see a lot at once with the camera not too far away. So if you guys know any recommendations for lenses or for cameras I should be going for, obviously budget, like cheaper the better, but I want something that does slow motion, time lapses, macro, and has a wide field of view, and has an attachable external microphone. That's pretty much my criteria. If you guys know of anything, give me some comments and I'll check them out. Jesse Nurse on my Rock Fosgate Balon install video recently asked what watches that you're wearing. This is just an Apple Watch Space Gray edition. Yeah. Tim Tirupi asked how much for the 15s, James. Tim, I presume based on your last name, Tirupi, that you're in New Zealand and you've possibly met me before. The 15s out of my Lignum, I have them in a box at work and I'm prepared to sell them for 1,500 bucks. On a similar video, Nick Ron 06 commented, polyfill no good for the box, bro, gets in your cone in the sub and can damage it, just resin the box. Okay, Nick Ron, I don't think you really understood what Dacron is. It's not polyfill, it's not expanding foam, it's intentionally made for subwoofer enclosure material. I put heaps of it in the box that I had my two 15s in. I recently took one of them out to have a look at the back side of it, see what condition it was in, and there was not a wisp of Dacron here anywhere near the internal workings of the subwoofer. It doesn't get in the sub. The subwoofer pushes it out of the way, and that was with lots of it. Australia Bass Channel, you're a DJ. Yep, I'm a DJ. Not professionally, by hobby. I used to do it for a while with a trust called White Elephant Trust. Have I got anything loaded up here? Yeah, I am a DJ. Well, I was a DJ, kind of. If you're curious, I have two CDJ 400s, two CDJ 1000 Mark IIIs, and a DJM 700. I just do it every now and again for fun, you know. Jesse Nurse also commented on one of my videos, why does the Kiwi accent make everything sound retarded? Cheers. So that looks like it's the majority of the recent questions on my YouTube comments. Let's just have a quick look at the Facebook page. No, that's pretty much all of it. So yeah, hopefully that's answered some of your guys' questions. If you have any more, drop them down in the comments and I will check them out. So yeah, and remember to let me know in that poll thing what you think, whether I should be doing like a weekly Q&A, something like that. You know, Ask Me Anything Thursday. Let me know what you thought of that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video or it helped out some of you if I answered your questions. Thanks for watching, choose to be happy, and I'll catch you in my next video. Ka kite ana.